Hello, my friend. Welcome back, or welcome to Something for Everybody. My name is Aaron Machbitz, and this is a solo episode of the podcast. Our devices have taken over our lives. In this episode, we will cover some useful tactics to break free from those devices because we must be in control of our devices. Our devices should not control us. So, we are going to break down a book called Bored and Brilliant: How Spacing Out Can Unlock Your Most Productive and Creative Self by Manoush Zomorodi. In Bored and Brilliant, Manoush offers a 7-day challenge to detach yourself from your devices so that you can experience boredom and its companion, creativity. Let's break down that challenge and all of the big ideas that it comes with. You could say that boredom is an incubator lab for brilliance. It's the messy, uncomfortable, confusing, frustrating place one has to occupy for a while before finally coming up with the winning equation or formula. Boredom has always been around, and it serves as a valuable evolutionary purpose, and it activates a neural network in the brain called the default mode that some scientists call the imagination network. Think like taking a shower, going for a walk, petting your dog, through which some of our best ideas appear. So, challenge number 1 in the Bored and Brilliant challenge is observe yourself. The very first challenge in the Bored and Brilliant program is simply to take a good, hard look at your true digital usage. Noticing and understanding your baseline behavior from the moment you wake up until you go to sleep is the first step in taking control of it. Psychologists have actually noticed that behavior tends to change the moment you start observing it. If you can measure it, you can manage it. They call it the Hawthorne effect. Then we move on to challenge 2. Keep your devices out of reach while in motion. It's all about baby steps, making our habits too small to fail. This challenge is very simple. Are you moving? Keep your phone out of your hand and your pocket. Challenge 3. A photo-free day. Just like it sounds. Quit snapping pictures of every single thing in your day. There's fascinating research that all the picture taking diminishes your memories while, of course, taking you out of the present moment. So we think, yes, all of these photos are going to capture the memories, and they are if we look back on them 5, 10, 15 years from now. I love photos. Photos are amazing, but you don't have to snap pictures of everything all the time, all day. Try being in the present moment. Try looking out at whatever you're doing. If you're on a hike, try really noticing the trees and the nature and the flowers and the beauty of it all. Then, yes, get that picture, capture it, save it, whatever it is, so you can look back at it 4 or 5 years from now. You can show your kids where you went. Yes, all of that is amazing in the power of the device. But again, if the device always controls us, then we're not really living our life. We have to take control of our device. And so, again, to recap the first 3 challenges: observe yourself, keep your devices out of reach while in motion. Challenge 3, have a photo-free day. And then challenge number 4, delete that app. What's the number 1 app you're most addicted to? Yeah, that one. Delete it. That is challenge 4. Need some motivation? Well, get this. If you spend 25 minutes a day on something that adds up to 2 years of your life. Think about that. You spend 25 minutes a day just sort of wasting your time on the app you're most addicted to. Over your lifespan, that's 2 years you've wasted just scrolling, stumbling through that app. So it doesn't mean you have to stop using that app. It just means delete it from your phone so you're not always attached to going to it every time you open up your phone. You don't put it down, open it back up, put it down, open it back up, and waste those on the very minimal scale, 25 minutes a day, which then adds up to at least 2 years of your life. Think about how much progress you can make on your goals in 2 years of your life. So yeah, delete that app, remove it from your phone, whatever it is. Yeah, you still have access to it. Maybe you have to go to the web browser and open up the web page and then use it from there. There's at least a little more friction in between you and that app. So you can't just open your phone, go to it, open your phone, go to it, like sort of this compulsion that we all have. And then we move on to challenge 5. Take a fakecation. The basic idea: create an autoresponder that says you'll be out of email for, X period of time. Even if it's just a matter of hours, so you can go deep and avoid all the sort of the paper cutting to your productivity without feeling bad. This is Cal Newport's idea of deep work. So let's talk more deeply about this concept. Here's the full definition of deep work: professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive abilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. Again, it's never been easier to get ahead these days because people are so distracted that if you do deep work and maybe just 90 minutes of deep work per day, you can get so far past everyone, because deep work is necessary to wiring every last drop of value out of your current intellectual capacity. We know for decades of research in both psychology and neuroscience that the state of mental strain that accompanies deep work is also necessary to improve your abilities. So the deep work hypothesis, the ability to perform deep work, is becoming increasingly rare at the exact same time is becoming increasingly valuable in our economy. As a consequence, a few who cultivate this skill and then make it a core of their working life will thrive. You must go deep. And finally, the 4 rules of deep work. Rule number 1, work deeply. We understand that concept now. Rule number 2, which we've been talking about, embrace boredom. In other words, don't reach for your phone whenever you have a spare 3 seconds. Embrace it. Embrace that boredom, but only if you want to go deep and unlock your full potential. That's what this 7-day challenge is about. It's about embracing boredom so you can unlock your creativity using these different challenges and different sets to break you free from your device. And then rule number 3 from Cal Newport is quit social media. The quit social media rule. You watch Cal Newport's TED Talk on why you should quit social media. It's an amazing TED Talk, but may not apply to every single one of us, because at this point, that may almost be impossible for most of us, but creating boundaries, emotional parameters with our devices, and putting in deep work blocks and device-free time in our calendar is more realistic for most of us. Or deleting that app, or removing it from our phone, or creating boundaries, or creating a fake vacation, right? Where we have an autoresponder, where we have a 2-hour block where if someone sends us an email, they get an email back because we're putting that time in our schedule to go deep, right? Cal Newport never started on social media. He quit social media. So it allows him, obviously, to go really deep all the time. He's on YouTube and has a podcast, but he's not doing email. He's not doing any of these other things that are paper cutting his productivity. So what we can do if we already have social and we're already doing all of these things to advance our business, our life, or whatever we're doing, we have to set these emotional parameters, these boundaries, these things in our calendars, deleting that app, creating the fake vacation, things that are part of the Cal Newport's rules and things that are part of the Bored and Brilliant Challenge. That's really, really important. Again, it's going to elevate us past everyone else who's just going shallow on all of their work, who's distracted, who's paper cutting their productivity, who are not going deep on anything that they're doing in their life. And then we have rule number 4, which is drain the shallows. Basically, quit wasting your time on stupid stuff. You have to know what you really want. And that's a question we should be asking ourselves often. What do I really want? What do I really want? And then being able to focus on what's most important is a superpower these days. But that's a question you have to ask yourself. And you have to understand it through experience and different ideas and trying stuff and going all in on certain things and finding out it's not for you and it is for you. Okay, this is most important to me in this period or this season of my life. Now I'm going to go all in on it. I'm going to go all in on it. And I'm constantly asking myself this question so I know actually what I really do want. And so I know what my most important tasks might be based on that ultimate North Star, or that wildly important target, or that massive, transformative purpose. Ultimately, changing behavior comes down to a little bit of motivation and a lot of discipline. We got to make the connection between our most important goals and the time we are wasting with stupid stuff. How about we take a moment now then to reflect on Greg McKeown's simple 3-step process from his unbelievably powerful book, Essentialism. Step number 1, what's essential for you? Again, what's most important? What do I really want? We have to create the space to figure that out. It starts with, the challenge number 1 of this Bored and Brilliant challenge, which is observe yourself. Awareness, acceptance, action. Step number 1 here of what's essential for you is an awareness. And then we're accepting the fact that, yes, this is essential, this is not essential, this is important, this is important. And then obviously step number 3 is action. We have to move into action. What's actually going to move the needle forward? What are the lead measures that get us closer to that wildly important target? And then we have step number 2, which is eliminate all the stuff that's not essential. That clears up a ton of free time so we can actually go deep and we're not wasting our time on stupid shit. Again, we're not paper cutting our productivity. We're not trying to multitask. We're just task switching really badly and there's attentional residue everywhere. And we're not just going deep on the thing that we really, really care about. One, because we haven't identified what we really, really care about. So we have to create the space to figure that out. We have to get bored enough to figure that out, to let our mind wander, to get into that imagination stage where we can figure out what we want. We can go to experience things. We can take a walk. We can hang out with friends. We can travel, and we can understand what we really do want, and then we can go all in on it. And then step 3, invest all that bonus time into what matters. Optimize your meaning and your mojo. That's incredible stuff that we're learning here from Cal Newport and Greg McKeown, mixed in with this Bored and Brilliant challenge to be able to break free from those devices. At least, maybe not break free, but at least have some control and some power and some agency over those devices so they're not totally running your life. You're running your life based on what you want to do and the actions you find most important. And then we move into challenge number 6, observe something else. Slow down for a moment or 3 today and just observe what's happening. What do you see? Take a few deep breaths. See the beauty in life. Love the small moments that we can never get back. Be here now. Being in the present moment is all we have, and it's one of our greatest superpowers as human beings, to soak in this present moment in this very second, using our breath, using that present moment awareness to be able to sink in, be exactly where our feet are, and be in this moment. Thinking what's important now, this moment right here is most important. And that's so important if we want to live a productive, meaningful, device-free, well, not device-free, but at least we control our device usage life. So observe it. Awareness, acceptance, action. And then we move on to the last challenge of this 7-day or 7-week or whatever 7-day thing you want to put it into. Challenge 7, the Bored and Brilliant challenge. This is a fun one where you identify an area in your life in which you currently feel confused. Then you carve out 30 minutes of quiet time to deliberately make yourself bored. Deliberately make yourself bored by watching the wall, by watching a pot of boiling water, or writing 0101 over and over again for a whole page, by watching paint dry, by staring at the wall, whatever it is. Then after you deliberately make yourself bored for 30 minutes, because you're going to feel a ton of agitation. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel hard. It's going to feel like you need to grab stuff, right? So you're going to make this habit too small to fail. Maybe we deliberately make ourselves bored for 30 seconds, for 1 minute, for a minute and a half, and we start to build and build and build, and then we can actually be bored for 30 minutes without trying to habitually or compulsively grab stuff to make us feel better, to cope with this uncomfortable feelings that are coming up in our body based on trying to deliberately make ourselves bored, because boredom is the pathway to creativity, as we touched on the beginning. And creativity is sort of the magic and the juice for our life to figure out what we really want, what's most essential to us. And so then once we're bored for 1 minute or 2 minutes, and now we've deliberately made ourselves bored, we understand that practice, we've built up that habit to make it too small to fail, then We can put our mind to solving the problem or asking ourselves what we really want or what's essential to us or is this the right path I'm on or what do I want to do with my life? Giving our brain and body space to answer these questions by deliberately making ourselves bored. We can't really answer life's most important questions if we're distracted, if we're not in the present moment, if we don't have the space to think about it. So this is a really, really important challenge, and it's challenge number 7. That's why it's the last challenge on the list, because we've done all these other steps. We've potentially deleted that app or taken a vacation or observed ourselves or deleted that app or had a photo-free day. So we're learning more about how we have the power to control our devices and they don't have to control us, and how much better we feel that we're not compulsively reliant on this thing, that we can't actually just be in the world. We can't actually just be in the present moment with our feet on the ground firmly, being in the world, seeing the beauty all around us. And Manoush tells us that most people thought keeping their phones out of sight was the most useful thing they practiced in this challenge. I agree with that. Like when you're eating dinner, out of sight, out of mind. When you're working, out of sight, out of mind. These things are very powerful. There's this thing called the iPhone effect, that even if your phone is in your pocket, like with you while you're having a conversation with a friend, you're still distracted, you're still thinking about the phone. So why not leave it in the car, right? Move the phone away from you if you're going to be with someone, right? That's another challenge, right? If you're doing something, you're in motion, keep your phone away, right? Yes, these are hard things to do, but they're just sets of challenges. They're just sets of tools and tactics that we can present, that we could potentially use to break free from our devices, or at least create some emotional boundaries, emotional parameters, and some rules and some standards in our life, because we want to be the best version of ourselves, and being totally reliant and attached on our phones compulsively is not creating the best version of ourselves on a consistent basis. Now, this is presented as a 7-day challenge in the book, but use these challenges however you want. That will best suit you and your specific life. Maybe take a week to do one challenge, so you have a 7-week challenge, or focus on one challenge at a time, and whenever you feel ready, move on to the next one, adding some wisdom from Cal Newport that we talked about going deep and doing deep work, adding some wisdom from Essentialism and Greg McKeown, using those ideas, meshing them all together, and seeing how you can be the best version of yourself by breaking free from these devices, making these habits too small to fail, and then completely and utterly and all in applying them to your life, because it's awareness, acceptance, action. First 2 are on you, and then we move into, and the third one obviously is on you too, action, but now you actually have some actionable tactical steps that you can apply to your life. You become aware, you accept the fact that it's reality. Now we get into action, because we know action is the only thing that's going to actually move the needle forward. And now you have steps, tactics, challenges, wisdom to make that a reality in your life. So if you want to be brilliant, be willing to be bored. I mean, that's it. That's the cornerstone right there. So what's one little thing you can do to flip on your brain's super powerful default mode imagination engine? What's one little thing? Because again, we want to make our habits too small to fail. So here's to you and your epic brilliance, my friend. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend. That's the absolute best marketing tool that we have. Other than that, I very much appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers. Thank you very much for tuning into that episode. And if you enjoyed it, click right here for another full-length episode of the podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, above all else, please take good care of yourselves and others. And I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers.